to North Bay, you can see the boats kind of bend out of here. So our first sign that the current is going out, those boat sterns are kind of pointed towards us a little, and then these boats are swinging out. So it's just the tide's just bending around the spot. So our first sign that the tide's going out right now is the way the boats are hanging. So we talked about how we're going to take a little more risk in this regatta. This is going to be laser regatta number 2 or 3 for the winter in San Diego. So we're in practice mode for these small events sometimes. Boat handling, we're especially focused on reducing rudder movement on tacks and even jives, but mostly on tacks right now. But we're trying to take more high risk in our starts, starting a little more aggressively bow to bow, or even a tiny bit bow out on people, especially when bucking the current. But a little more high risk racing in general for these practice events. Then we're working on tacks, and we're also working on pre-race routine. So today we're remembering ACB, around the committee boat. We're gonna go around the committee boat and say hi to the race committee, and then we're gonna sit there and we're gonna figure out current before we figure out speed practice, speed testing and practice before the race. Last race can't happen after 3 o'clock. We didn't look at the computer at all. None of us know the forecast, other than we think it's gonna be a south wind, and we think the current's going out at this point. Looking at the land behind the buoy that I'm going left to right a little right now. Look at the land behind the buoy, and then you can see the sea lions. Adventure sailing right here, but you can see the currents going out quite quickly. Changing anytime soon. So our first couple races are going to be light wind from the south, so we're going to be cross current. The current's going to be pushing us up the starting line, so barging at the start is definitely ain't going to happen. It better not. And then making the pin end is going to be quite easy, and then it's going to affect the ley lines to the windward mark, the shy ley line, and you're going to make the mark. So remember that you can't overstand when you have a current that's going across the course, but we'll see what happens. I promise I'm going to try to not make a video that's super long, but right now what I'm doing is I'm lining up the buoy with that hotel, and I'm trying to hold a steady compass course here, but I'm slowly having to turn to the right a little. Not much though, it's actually holding very well. See how I'm not changing, so we're gonna look at this again in just a minute. I think the current is slack where we are right now, on the inside here. We're on the inside of the curve of the bay, so let's see as I get closer. Now I'm getting into deeper water, and I'm having to turn to the right. Let me go perfectly straight here. Wow, the current is swirling here. I just went left to right, now I'm about to go right to left. Okay, here we go. Now I'm moving right to left. I'm going to try to hold position, but again, I'm having to turn to the right. Here we go. Definitely going right to left now. Yep, I'm having to turn to hold steady. Now I'm going to hold bearing on it. Anyway, that's the thing. Wow, almost no current on this buoy. Tiny bit. You can see the rings on the right side, so the current is still going with us, but this is a much fatter part of the bay than we were in just a little bit ago, so the current is a lot less right here. Glassy water down there. Isn't it just beautiful? So this is about a 6-knot southwesterly. Actually, no, if I look at the orange windsock over there, this is a westerly. Interesting. But the forecast is for it to come over there. we'll see if they remember to go around the committee boat, ACB, check the current. And we got 5 races, nothing can start after 3. And then we've got to figure out the current here and make sure we put it into our plan for the first race, because Harbor Island is, a lot of this is more like a college regatta on the East Coast, where current actually plays a big factor in almost everything. And a lot of these kids want to go back there. We'll see. In that last video, the windsock was hanging right to left over there, and now it's pointed the opposite way. Just in that last 3 minutes, it's now coming from the southwest. So the wind should be coming south, which is that way, southwest a little, and it's coming straight across the channel. So this is going to be interesting. You know, the water's going to be 60-something feet deep over there, and it's going to be, you know, 25 to 10 feet deep over here. So it's a big difference. All this glassy water you see right here is caused by the water swirling around right now, right here on that shelf between the 65 and the 25. Pretty racing right out here. Here's where we go. See the green buoy there? We're right on the edge of the channel, the deepest part right now. And you can see where the wind is. The current's moving left. This is a huge current line right here. This is swirling water in the 65, 70 foot deep water. See how it's right here in the deepest part, and then where it gets shallow again on the other side, the water's not swirling, so the wind isn't, but there's wind right here. It just looks like there's no wind here because the water is just swirling mess. All right, we got 4 boats. All 4 did a good thing. They remembered the ACB around the committee boat. So what I would do when I get out here is the first thing we do, we got to speed test a little. We got to speed test up and down. We're really working on new technique. We're working on high risk, but the line is easy line sights. Right now I'm above the line, and the race committee is hanging sideways to the wind, so the current's going out. But the first thing I do when I get out here is I get a line sight, and with the outgoing current I get a safe line sight. Now, in an outgoing current, you have to be very clear in your communication. Okay, my safe line sight would be 2 little tiny palm trees sticking up above a bush. So I would be hanging below the line in the last bit, and our communication has to be very clear. Lured boat, pretty loudly, nicely but loudly. We don't want anybody rolling us off the line, because this is going to be almost impossible start to get off. A lot of boats and outgoing strong current is probably a general recall, so I'm going to bet my house right now that the first start's going to be a general recall. Younger sailors have a really hard time identifying their speed over the bottom, and when the current's going out, your speed over the bottom is dramatically increased, and so none of them know how to stop or slow down. So we'll see that. Bet my house. Before race 1, winter circuit number 2 or 3, I don't really know. And there's the orange windsock over there showing westerly, so it's blowing from our right to left. I thought they had the mark set too far to the right. I thought the mark should have been more kind of west-southwest. They've got it pretty much west. I don't think this is a true westerly, but one thing about North Bay is geographically the wind will bend that way even in a southwest. So now we got 2 minutes to go, and when have you seen a fleet where more than half the fleet is upwind of the start line?
Copy.
And that's because some of these kids just don't have any idea the current's going out. Most of them do, but they don't know how to compensate. Most of them don't know how to compensate. I'm not saying they can't be where they are, but this is already indicating a general recall to me. We'll see how. Coming up on 30 seconds for race 1, and that cruising boat actually has pressure. So we need to even be looking at that. This is going to be everybody on the rail off the line, but they're going to have to change make the line longer. This is incredible fleet. There's Carter, 154463, perfect approach. Late, tacking underneath, because the current's going to carry him right out. But it so looks like I'm going to keep my house.
056198646. Bottom 3 boats. Bottom 4 boats.
I can't call I'm going to do general and put an I flag up.
Race 1, second start, I flag in effect. You can't see the orange flag right now. It's right on the slope of Point Loma. You can't see it, and you know why? Because it's blowing southwest. It's straight into our face. So that means big lefty coming. All these cruising boats are showing lefty. They moved the starting line with a minute and a half to go. They moved the pin way up.
7! Allie, Cole!
Way over, way up. I mean, can't lay it. So anybody on our team who's over here is really messed up, and I don't know if I think there's Preston. He did not see them move.
You keep an eye for clearing.
So now the key to this race is getting on
people starting to clear.
port tack. Stella number 6. Okay. Well, a little bit of jungle ball there, guys. I love that all 3 of our good sailors were at that end. I mean, not all, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. 3 of our sailors were at that end, and one did not see them move the pin way up with a minute and a half to go. Which is fine with me. At a national, it would have never, at a nationals or something, anybody who got a bad start here, especially somebody doing well, would protest the race committee for that, and that race would be thrown out. But this is a luffing. I dig it when they change things. You got to be awake, man. Got to figure that stuff out. We want things crazy at these practices events, and Stella went for it, man. Stella was like, high risk start. Now the orange flag has shifted a little more southwest to the right a little. We can actually see some of it. It's showing 3 knots. Preston here had a good recovery, and these guys are headed towards more current. Oh, that's not Preston. Heading towards more current is a good thing here, I think. Here's Mercy right over here. It's really hard to tell. I think the early shift in the race was a righty, so I think these guys on the right are doing well. Here's Stella did a good job. Stella did a port tack for a while, stepped up, and then tacked again, going back on port tack again. So Stella's gonna do okay in this race. This might be one of her best races in a while. Now it's gonna feel really good now sailing because we're going up with the current. It's pushing us faster and faster. Here's Mercy. And she's heading into a puff. And she got a header and a puff. Now she should foot like crazy and just get it ripping. Because this is actually a good angle for her. This is a pretty good angle.
Got away with murder on an auction today.
Windward mark is right there, and you remember the ley line angles are much narrower than if we were bucking the current. If we were against the current, they would be very wide angles on the ley lines, but right now they're very narrow, so you got to make sure you don't overstand either side. So Stella's trying hard, she's just not going through the water quite fast enough. Maybe press down and trim 1 more inch on the main. Here's Mercy, gonna get good wind here. Best puff of the day coming for her. What's the flag showing? Orange flag, I can't see it. That's a lefty, so it is back left. It's lined up with a water tower. So it's pointed at us again. So Mercy's gonna come out of here good. She's overstood though. She might be overstood, we'll go see.